Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Scribbles with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Rector. And today, what we're doing is we're just continuing on from where we left off yesterday. As you can see, we were just finishing up that poop monster, just throwing up some extra lines on there, just to see where we go with the concept. Just a little bit of a side note before we get too crazy today. Do you guys feed squirrels or any kind of wildlife? I know it's probably a little silly question, but every morning, well, actually, I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee, recording this right now, and every morning there's some gray squirrels that hang out around our house. It's like a ritual now. We give them food, like bread and all that kind of stuff, and I think they come back just, for the free eats, and it's a good time. But I don't know, something about it just it's relaxing and it's kind of cool. And anyway, other than that, going back to what we were actually talking about a little bit yesterday, right now, what we're going to be doing is we're just fleshing out ideas. And granted, the way I'm doing these ideas is probably not the best way of doing it. There are faster ways that we'll try to touch on later on in future episodes. But right now, this is the first drawing I've done today as well, so I am kind of warming up. So I'm not as loose and as fast as that I will be towards the end of the day. So I'm doing things a little bit more structurally. I'm not really thinking too much in terms of just getting the idea on the actual paper. I'm thinking in solid shapes. That's where you can see a lot of everything's kind of straight lines. There's some curves to them, but it's not rock solid straight. And it's something I'm definitely working on, and I encourage everybody to work on trying their line values and things like that, especially when you're doing concepts. I mean, some of the best things come out of scribbles, and that's one of the things I know personally I'm trying to get to, and I hope you guys are as well. And the thing I was talking about yesterday about silhouetting, basically the black outline of a shape, and then trying to make that interesting, and then going in and doing some little bit of details. I try to do that in a second here. It didn't work out very well at all. Again, it's one of the things that you got to put on your to-do list of things that you want to get better at. It's just finding the time. And like I said, these are just little warm-up sketches, diversions of the day when you need a break. You just throw on some Photoshop, put on some music, and just plug away for 10 to 30 minutes. It works for me, so you guys might want to give it a try. And we'll just continue watching what's going on. I'll throw in some little things here and there. Other than that, I guess take the opportunity to talk about what's going on right now in my art world. Anyway, right now I've got a couple projects that I'm working on. They're basically comic projects, like usual. One I'm really excited about the script, and right now we're in the concept stages. So I get how I work for a comic book concept or illustration, for that matter, isn't how I'm doing this. This is more, I know it's going to go to color in this, and I know color plays a huge role in how a concept comes apart, for me anyway, the way I like to do them. As for a comic book or an illustration, those are actual line work. So they're much tighter, as opposed to, as in right here in Photoshop, I can tighten it up as I'm going on. Not so much right in the beginning stages, such as in a comic book. If you're doing a hero who's your traditional superhero, even if it's a rip-off of Superman, but it's going to have your own flavor to it. Superman's a very iconic superhero, and you usually want to bring that to not every hero, but it depends on the script, and the script I'm doing on is I get a Superman vibe from him. So what I do is, you've got the format basically right there. How tall he is, how muscular he is, all that kind of stuff. You get to play with that. That's the beauty of it. But the real fun is coming up with the costume. And depending on the actual script and how they've labeled it, if they've left it pretty open for you, you're allowed to do whatever you want with it. I've been fortunate enough that the script actually mildly describes what the character looks like, and the project had a previous artist on board before, but for whatever reason, those things fell through. So what I get to do is I get three fresh pairs of eyes. I've got the first look of the artist, and then I've got all the comments, and even the original writer did some drawings. and then I get to take my take on it. So it's like I get to take the best of two worlds and then throw my own flair on there. And my stuff might not even fly, and I mean that's kind of the fun. You just spend some time and just try to, have fun with it and get a costume and a look that makes it your own. And with superheroes, it's pretty hard. I find that all like the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, DC, Marvel, all that stuff's covered their bases pretty well. It's very rare that you find a superhero come along like grab off the top of my head, Kick-Ass or what's the other one? Invincible. These characters, they have their own look and it's unique to them. But because it is a superhero book, there's some formats that you gotta kind of stay in there, and I think we'll try to touch upon that once I can figure out a way of recording pencil. I find it a little bit easier to do concepts like that on paper as opposed to Photoshop. That's probably a lack of control, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. But anyway, real quick, this is what the silhouette was. Basically, grab like a different brush other than an airbrush or your standard round brush, and I find if you use a texture brush, you can get some pretty weird shapes in it. But my biggest folly in what I'm doing is I did a giant shape, but then I'm going in and I'm basically using white as line art. And from what I know, that's not how this is supposed to work. You're supposed to build out the shapes from the black. So you'd start adding in tonal values. So like a chest cavity you could block in as a gray, a face, just like the part of the face that the light would hit is what you'd be doing. And I'm just checking the time real quick to see how much we got left here. That's a handy little feature there. It's, I'm sure there's much more easier ways. I could have just looked at a clock, but anyway, it's www.online-stopwatch.com, and basically you can just punch in a time, and it'll do a little ring for you. So I can hear that, like if I've got music going, which I do while I draw, you'll hear like this loud, annoying ring sound, and to just turn it off and get ready. I just don't want to go over the 10-minute mark for you guys here. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last concept we draw before we decide, and I'll go over my thinking patterns of which one I decided to go with at the end. We're going to put this kind of little bike, I guess. I have no idea what's going on. And I suppose for the next time I do something like this, we'll come up with a concept idea together, and then we'll play with it that way. This one literally is just a bunch of scribbles, and then I pick which ones I like. And then from there, I pick the one that I'll take to a semi-final, I suppose you could say. I'm not going to go too crazy with the detail at the end of this. It's pretty labor-intensive, and I don't want the first 500 videos to just be the same guy. It's pretty boring to watch that. So, I think that guy's pretty much done. So right now, basically all I've been doing is adding a new layer and turning off the previous layer, so I get a fresh sheet of paper to draw on and fill up. So what I'm going to do, this is just for the display as well. I pick a red, and I start checking which ones I like. These are the 3 I like on this page. Now we're going to flip it over to the original, see what we like on there. Wasn't too many I liked on there. I like the dynamic of this one, so I'm gonna put a check mark on that. And on the last page, if any of these I were to pick, I'd pick the one on the left, because the one on the right looks like utter garbage. But ultimately, we're just going to end up going with this slug character, who I think it'd be kind of fun to draw. Fat and wrinkles and things like that. I like the paint and shade. It gives it some depth, and it's a little bit easier than a traditional muscle guy. So the video is pretty much wrapping up here. So on the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where we go from here. And it's basically pretty easy. Just taking this guy, copying a bunch of times, and adding him a costume and a little bit of details. Okay, so I hope you guys had a great, enjoyed the video anyway, and I hope you guys have a great day drawing, and I'd love to see what you guys are working on. Alright, thanks for stopping by. See ya!